Sunfabater frowned.
He grabbed a chair, pointed at the troublemakers, and snarled, "Don't you bastards push your luck."
Do you really think I won't mess you up? Watch high. Go upstairs and tell the guys to stop fooling around. They've got some punks looking for trouble. My sister-in-law's family has serious connections at the top.
So don't even think about starting something here.
Broke losers like you who have to split the bill can't afford to pay for the damage. The crowd realized they had messed with the wrong guy. They felt a sudden chill of fear and slipped away with their tails between their legs, seeing that his chance to play the hero was gone. A middle-aged uncle watching from afar
Felt the wave of disappointment. Then, I was Mustabisif.
but he wasn't in a rush to leave just yet. He wanted to see exactly what kind of man belonged to this beautiful Lily. Just as Xiaolan was stumbling and about to walk out of the bars, she crashed straight into someone walking through the door. In one swift motion, he swept her up and cradled Xiaolan tightly in his arms. Sun Fabao smiled knowingly and turned to walk away. Onlookers instantly realized that her man had finally arrived. You've been drinking, and you still drove here? If Pabao hadn't spotted you, were you really going to drive yourself home? And coming to a sketchy place like this of all venues? If Babo hadn't been here today, did you even think about what would have happened to you? What the hell is the point of hiding your face now? Cradled in my arms, Xiaolan buried her face in her hands, desperately trying to hide her face from me. I didn't even have the energy to lecture her anymore. I turned around, ready to walk out of the bars. However, just as we got out of the bar's door, the moment the cold wind hit Xiaolan, she threw up all over me. In that exact moment, I completely lost my mind. I gritted my teeth, trembling with absolute rage. I should take you straight to Mom right now. Let her see how you're getting wasted at a bars the second we got divorced. Give me your cues.
Xiaolan looked at me with blurry, dazed eyes.
She struggled in my grip and slurred. She's my mom, not yours.
Fine, then I'm taking you back to your mother's house.
I don't have the keys to her place. Xiaolan, did you seriously have no intention of going home tonight? I was genuinely furious now.
But Sayanj whimpered, burying herself deeper into my chest.
She looked just like a child who had done something wrong.
Before long,
I'd heard her choked voice. Sui, I don't have a home anymore. My mom, she took my apartment and sold it. Left with no choice, I had to take her back to the apartment I had just rented. After spending the entire night sleeping on the sofa, I woke up feeling sore all over, and what hurt even more was seeing my brand new, untouched bedding hijacked by her. I was eventually woken up by a ringing phone. The sky wasn't even bright yet, but Yaonwan's phone was already buzzing non-stop. Drowsily, I reached over, grabbed her phone, and answered it. Immediately, Chen Noan-tu's Buddhist lion's roar blasted through the receiver, along with her warm greeting. You little brat! Just wait until you get back. I am going to skin you alive. I literally just told you not to stay out all night, and you dare to break the rule on the very first day? Once Chen Noan-tu's furious roaring finally paused, I whispered, Mom, it's Xu Yi.
Valderon, he's over here with me.
The call was instantly cut off. I stared at the phone in my hand, totally bewildered. Just then, a text message popped up. Old Wen and I went on a trip. Le Xiao wouldn't stay with you for now. I can finally rest easy. If she dares to call me, she's getting a taste of my fists. I stared at my phone in utter confusion. Was my ex-mother-in-law really not worried about Yao Noan at all? But then again, what was there to worry about? We had lived together for 3 years, after all. While I was still lost in thought, Xiaolong Krennic crept up behind me. Snooping through my phone? You never kept my phone when we were married. You didn't even care when I was on the phone with Du Teng. Why start checking my phone now that we're divorced? Do you want me to help you? I turned around to look at Xiao Noan, who hadn't even washed her face yet. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Zhaowen, if you ever dare to drink like that again, I will absolutely tell Mom. I'm hungry. Yao No once again avoided the topic of drinking, snatched her phone, and opened her blacklist right in front of my face. And right there, sitting in her blacklist, was Du Teng's number, saved under the name Stomach Page. She then tossed the phone onto the sofa, hopped out of bed, and skipped off to the bathroom to wash up. As I watched Chaowan walk away, it felt so surreal. We'd been divorced for less than a day, and now we were living together again. Hearing her humming and splashing around in the bathroom, I got up, headed to the kitchen to make breakfast, and shouted my mother-in-law's message to her. Mom and old Wen went on a trip, and they apparently took the house keys with them. So Mom wants you to stay with me. I don't mind. It's not like we haven't lived together before. I have to go to work today. Hearing her shameless attitude, I almost stormed into the bathroom with the frying pan to have it out with her. Seriously, what kind of joke is this? Our marriage is over. The contract is broken. I'm buried under 4 million in debt, and yet we're living together again. Every fiber of my being told me to rebel. Taking a deep breath, I called out, hurry up and get ready. I need to use the bathroom, so I can head out too. I have a job interview today. With a splash of water, Xiaowan poked her head out of the bathroom and asked curiously, Shu Yu,
Did you actually wash all my clothes when you got back last night?
Why don't you just skip work? Just be my full-time housekeeper instead. As if I'd stay and watch my ex-wife and her old flame be all lovey-dovey. Even if ours was just a contract marriage, I still have my dignity as a man. Sean, you mentioned do said them?
苏毅，有架子，而是有。
苏怡，对呀，许赖你。
I stayed silent, but Chashuang kept pressing, and feeling helpless, I carried the breakfast out of the kitchen.
Suyi, as long as you admit you're jealous.
I want to do Zetten. Fine, I'm jealous. Right now, you need to eat your breakfast. Got it? And there's another unfortunate thing for me, which is that I have to start taking care of you again. That is your absolute honor.
Gee, you have no idea.
So many guys were hitting on me at the bars last night.
吃饭。
Neither of us realized one crucial thing. The way we treated each other completely changed after the divorce.
I was no longer bowing and scraping to Xiaonan, and she stopped treating me like her personal nanny.
She was terrified I'd grill her about what happened at the bars. But at the same time, hearing me admit I was jealous put her in a great mood. All her gloom instantly vanished. She didn't even mind staying at my place anymore.
Meanwhile, on the inside, I was screaming. I was absolutely, utterly doomed.
But hey, I still had that $4 million to pay back. Right in the middle of breakfast, I got a reply from Glory Group. They told me they had time today and asked me to come in for an interview. So I hauled myself all the way to Glory Group's headquarters. Just as I was about to stride inside, ready to tackle this new challenge head on,
A bright red Ford Raptor roared past, missing my nose by literally a hair.
my confidence shattered instantly, scared clean out of me. By the time I snapped out of it, the Raptor had pulled over a short distance away. A woman stepped out of the vehicle. She was wearing a tight black pencil skirt and a pair of 7 to 8 centimeter high heels. She had a killer body and dressed incredibly bold. But to me, this woman was a reckless maniac who had almost ended my life. Before I could even go over and demand an apology, this gorgeous hazard ran right past me and vanished through the doors of Glory Group. I rubbed my chin, muttered to myself, yeah, that woman is definitely trouble. Moments later, in Glory Group's HR interview room, I was sitting in a chair facing 3 interviewers, 2 men and 1 woman. The atmosphere made me feel like I was being interrogated at a police station. The female interviewer sitting in the middle broke the silence. First, please introduce yourself. My name is Miss Xiao, and I am the HR manager. I will be the one asking the questions to get to know you, while my 2 colleagues here will evaluate your answers and background. They will ultimately decide if you're a good fit to partner with our company. You see, here at Glory Group, all staff members in the company are partners. We do not have traditional employees. That being said, Glory Group is a bit more accommodating than other corporations. So let me first walk you through how our system works. So, would you like to proceed with the interview? Manager Zhao's expression was incredibly gentle. There wasn't a hint of condescension in her tone, which made me feel completely at ease. After she walked me through the company policies, I told her I was completely fine with them. Manager Zhao smiled, her eyes crinkling. Compared to Changsheng Group, she said, we at Rangyao treat our employees with a lot more humanity. After all, coming to work isn't like signing your life away. Now I have a few questions for you. Since you're happy with us, we also need to make sure we're happy with you. First, why don't you introduce yourself? With a gentle smile, I said softly, my name is Shi, Han Chinese, 25 years old and divorced. I have 3 years of experience in the planning department at Changjiang Group, where I managed some smaller projects and also worked on a project involving Rongyao Group. My highest level of education is high school. During my freshman year of college, my family suffered an unexpected tragedy, so I had to drop out. If you don't mind me asking, what was the reason for your divorce? There was a massive wealth gap between my ex-wife's family and mine. I didn't want to hold her back. If you were asked to come up with a strategy to compete against Ronghang World right now, where would you start? Honestly, I don't think there's any need to target Ronghua World. It's just a low-end brand, catering mostly to middle-aged and elderly customers. Ronghua World is nothing more than a last-ditch effort to save Chansung Department Store. Forced pivot because they had no other choice. Ruianda Department Store, on the other hand, relies mainly on high-end jewelry stores and luxury boutiques to drive its massive revenue. There's absolutely no need for us to copy Ronghua World. If we did, the results wouldn't be pretty. One last question. Why did you leave Changjiang Group? It was too far from my place. Does that count as a reason? Fair enough. We'll get back to you by tomorrow night at the latest. I look forward to potentially working with you, Mr. Xu. As I walked out of the room, I was still in a bit of a daze. Just as I was about to step out the door, I suddenly turned back and asked, by the way, is that Ford Raptor parked downstairs owned by your company? The moment I asked that question, the 3 interviewers looked rather awkward. Manager Zhao stood up and said sheepishly, Mr. C, you aren't hurt, are you? That car does indeed belong to our company.
Well, Now that I know,
Once I track down the owner of that car, I'm going to slap them across the face twice. And don't blame me for being too harsh. She was wearing 8-centimeter high heels and almost sent me flying. With that, I turned and walked out, leaving the 3 interviewers behind, staring at each other in utter shock, completely unsure whether they should write down my last threat. That little princess of ours. This isn't even her first time driving in high heels. Besides, everyone in this company knows the rule. Never cross the plaza around 9 o'clock. No wandering around under any circumstances. You must use the designated pedestrian walkway.
Manager Zhao sighed. Actually, I think he's pretty good.
They can hire him on a trial basis.
After all, the company has a 1-month probation period.
And the contract says we can let him go within 1 month without any reason. As for him almost getting run over, just consider it a welcoming gift from our little princess. The chaotic fight quickly drew a crowd of onlookers. The 3 interviewers rushed over in a panic, because those 2 shouting voices were far too familiar to them.
When Manager Zhao from HR saw the scene, he instantly froze in shock.
Shi-He, let go of her, quick! President Yu, you let go too. Please, let go. The employees are all watching.
Shu-Yi, you let go first.
President Liu is a girl, for goodness sake. Frowning, I let go of my grip, but to my surprise, instead of letting go, this woman actually lunged forward and tried to sink her teeth into my neck.
Seeing this, Manager Zhao frantically jumped in to pull her back, pleading and coaxing until President Liu finally released her hold.
By now, we were both a disheveled mess, glaring furiously at each other. Nu Ran bent down, about to rip off her high heel and throw it at my head. Manager Zhao quickly held her back to restrain her and tried to calm her down, before gesturing for me to leave first. He called me later to apologize on President Liu's behalf. I let out a cold snort and stepped into the elevator. What bad luck. Liu Huiyan spat, desperately fixing her messy hair. Manager Zhao, she whispered. Do you know this guy? Manager Zhao helped her adjust her short skirt and replied softly. President Liu, he's here for an interview today. He was almost hit by your car downstairs just now. I know, seeing handsome guys just pisses me off. I can only look, but can't touch. If I don't run him over, what's the point of keeping him around? Tell the interviewee to come to work tomorrow. He dared to grab my hair, and even took advantage of me. Just wait and see how I play with him. With that, Lu Ruyan walked away. As she left, she lifted her skirt and adjusted her safety shorts underneath. Everyone was furious, but no one dared to say a word. The company was great in every aspect, except for this general manager, who made everyone's skin crawl. Right after I left the company, I received a text message saying I got the job. It said I could start work this coming Monday, the day after tomorrow. All the paperwork could be picked up at the front desk, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was a sheep walking straight into a tiger's den. Still, I couldn't turn it down. Joining Rongya Group was the first and most crucial step of my plan. Only here could I find the opportunity to truly show what I'm capable of. Living together for just 3 short years completely shattered all my beautiful illusions about women. Why on earth are women's rooms always such a disaster? Thinking of Xiaowen, I gave my mother-in-law a call. I asked when the 2 of them would be back. The call went through. Hello?
Shou-Yi, your mother is playing mahjong right now.
We're in Sanya. Hearing the clatter of the mahjong tiles over the phone,
I felt my blood pressure rising. What a garbage excuse.
the 2 of them just didn't want Yaoan No going back to ruin their quality time together.
But I really didn't dare to send Xianwen back there. I had to save face for old Wen and my mother-in-law, and I'd also had to save some face for Xiaowan. After all, I was the one who filed for divorce. Just thinking of her, I felt like my life was getting even darker. Who would have thought that the supposedly clean freak vice president of Changsheng Company was no different from a pig at home? This spoiled princess taught me exactly what it means to never lift a finger around the house. Honestly, it's too painful to even talk about. Inside a luxurious villa,
Chen No and Tu had already stepped away from the mahjong table.
she did it for one reason: to teach old Wen a lesson for letting the secret slip. Dressed in casual clothes, old Wen was frowning. He looked miserably at his wife, who had kept him under her thumb for decades. With a heavy sigh, he asked, "Honey, are you sure it's okay for us to do this? What something goes wrong?" Kan Dongko peeled the tangerine and handed it to her. She frowned and said, "There's a lot of drama going on between those 2 kids, but I've already dug up the general story.
Besides, that little ungrateful brat.
She even called to say she's coming home? She'd been spoiled rotten by Shui, always having him wait on her hand and foot. So stop worrying so much. We've watched GZ for 3 years. Don't you know what kind of character he has? Let me tell you a little secret.
Su-Yi actually smokes.
Yet, for that ungrateful brat, he didn't touch a single cigarette for 3 whole years. With someone like him, what could possibly happen to her? Old Wen put the tangerine down, tilted his head back, and stared at her. He frowned. So it's fine when Sui smokes, but when I want to smoke, it's a crime? Chandakuya, you're crossing the line. So what if I am? What are you going to do? Divorce me? I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let you smoke 2 cigarettes. Old Wen looked like he had just received a royal decree. He jumped up and trotted off, He joined his friends on the balcony to light up. In truth, Chen Nongku had already called Sidon.
All Shaolin had to do was admit she was wrong, and she could get the house keys and come home.
Instead, that ungrateful brat hung up on her without saying a single word. It was obvious she had someone backing her up, so why on earth should they worry? With that, Chen Mongqiu went back to her mahjong game. Meanwhile, I was wandering through the supermarket. With a shopping cart, I was trying to figure out what to cook for dinner. Eventually, I bought some pork intestines, along with some green beans and mushrooms, and headed back home. By the time I arrived, Xiaowan was already back. She had bought herself a set of yellow cartoon bear pajamas. She was sitting on the sofa, clutching a bag of potato chips and watching TV. Saying me to stand by the stairs, she put down her chips. She looked up and yelled, "Yui, I'm hungry." I took a deep breath. I asked softly, "So, you're planning to stay here?" Jano nodded vigorously. "I can pay for my food and rent."
Shiji. I've been abandoned.
I called my mom, but she didn't pick up. She even sent me a text to curse me out. "Let me see the text," I said.
I deleted it. Are you trying to use this as an excuse to snoop through my phone?
Fine, look. I went to the bathroom, while Xiao Noan clenched her fists and cried out, claiming her stomach hurt.
She really had been blacklisted, without any explanation.
Xiao Noan just didn't want that person to ruin her mood. "If you like Yan Yu, fine. I'm not going to serve you anymore anyway." While I was washing the vegetables, Yao Noan slipped into the kitchen. With her hands behind her back, she peered curiously at the ingredients in the sink. She whispered, "They're all my favorites. Weren't you worried I wouldn't come back today?" Without turning my head, I kept washing the vegetables. I replied softly, "Didn't you say you hate the smell of the kitchen? Why did you sneak in here then?" "I'm not picky. Even if you didn't come back, I still would have eaten." Suye, you've changed. Men really are so fickle. It's only been a few days since our divorce, and you're already treating me so coldly. Don't forget, I'm still your creditor. Pay me back. Pay me back. You're not picky? Then why didn't you buy crabs? Shaodong had always bought pre-cooked crabs to eat at home. In the years we were married, she and I had only fought once. The reason was that Xiao Noan bought live crabs and wanted me to cook them. I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I put them in the fish tank instead. Then the next day, I saw Xiao Noan throwing those lively, kicking crabs into a pot of boiling water, one by one. My face was dark and gloomy for the rest of the night. I didn't make dinner, nor did I wash the dishes, or clean up the kitchen. Xiao Noan realized she had said the wrong thing. I didn't take it to heart, and turned around to walk out of the kitchen. Just when Xiaoan thought I was going on strike again, I came back, holding a carton of yogurt. "Go sit on the sofa and drink this. Stop annoying me in here. Since we're divorced, I won't be submissive to Xiaoan anymore." Deep down, I never had any urge to please women. Everyone is equal. We are all equals. There is no high or low, even though you're my creditor now. But Xiao Noan didn't leave. She doesn't realize that when she says I've changed, she has changed too. Maybe it's just the relationship between the two of us that has changed. We're no longer husband and wife. Pork intestines taste best with a lot of chili. Have you forgotten the time you almost died of pain in bed at 2 in the morning? And we spent half the night struggling at the hospital? That was back in the winter of our 2nd year of marriage. Jiaman was clamoring for sequin boiled fish, and she insisted on having it super spicy. Then, in the middle of the night, she was rushed to the emergency room. The doctor diagnosed it as intestinal spasms. Those antispasms were completely useless. Even the 4-drip didn't work. In the end, I had no choice but to keep making her drink water. I stayed by her bedside the entire night, while she whimpered and groaned on the hospital bed all night long. Because her crying was keeping the other patients awake, I almost got into a fist fight with someone at the hospital. Zawan remembered it too. Back then, she took my care for granted. But looking back now, it was probably a little slice of happiness, wasn't it? After all, it was just a contract marriage. Fine, just put a little less chili then, but cook it on high heat. Is there any soup? Like egg drop soup? My lady, if you're not busy, could you help this humble servant bring the bowls and chopsticks over? Sure, Inishu. As Yao Noan left the kitchen, I couldn't help but smile. Dinner was 3 dishes and a soup.
If Zhao Noan weren't here, I probably wouldn't even have bothered to cook.
At the dinner table, neither of us said a word. We just ate in silence, as if we had gone back to those 3 years of our marriage. After dinner, I cleared the table,
And Xiao Noan offered to wash the dishes.
I went back to the sofa and opened my laptop to study. That's when Xiao Noan walked over. She had changed into a set of casual clothes.
用个细语往的高端否我
This princess is giving you a chance to escort her.
Not going.
蓄意的修意的诱导后
I need to look at some things. Xiaowan took a sharp, frustrated breath. Then, she looked at me with a dazzling, radiant smile. Sweetly, in a sugary voice, she cooed, "Brother Xu, I've finished eating and want to go downstairs for a walk."
You shut up.
Huff. As a total straight guy, I couldn't handle Xiaowan's double whammy of a physical and magical armor-penetrating attack. I threw my hands up in defeat. Downstairs, even without a speck of makeup, Xu Anwan looked stunning. Combined with her striking height and those long, slender legs, she was a head-turner wherever she went. Standing next to her, I wasn't bad-looking either. We looked like the perfect couple, instantly becoming the center of attention in the neighborhood, drawing looks from everyone around. When we reached the basketball court, Zhao lied that she couldn't take another step. She insisted she had to go to the convenience store to buy a drink. I looked at the store, then glanced back toward our apartment and shook my head, saying, "Let's just drink when we get home." Yano muttered under her breath, "Cheapskate." Before I knew it, she jogged off toward the store. So much for not being able to take another step. Left standing there, I looked at the court and wondered if I should jump in and get some exercise. Right then, a kid around 20 twisted his ankle. They were one player short for their game. Everyone's eyes fell right on me. One of them asked if I could sub in for a bit. They said someone else would take over soon. It had been a long time since I touched a basketball, so I was pretty rusty. After dropping 2 passes, I started getting annoyed looks from the team. My pride wouldn't let me slink away like a loser. I threw off my jacket and got back on the court. Once I got the ball, I didn't rush to score. I just focused on getting my rhythm back. As the sweat started pouring, my touch returned. Layups, 3-pointers, steals, assists, except for rebounds. I was playing at my absolute peak. Just as I was starting to feel a bit smug, the whole vibe of the guys on the court suddenly shifted. Suddenly, they were running like they'd been injected with adrenaline. Someone even pulled off a slam dunk. As I stood there, utterly confused, I noticed the injured kid staring wide-eyed at the edge of the court. I turned to look and realized Jianuan was back, sitting on a chair, holding a phone. She was in the middle of a call. My husband doesn't need any out-call services. He doesn't eat junk food. Xiaonuan had an innocent yet deadpan serious look on her face. A seductive, whiny voice cooed over the phone. "Oh, little sister, you couldn't be more wrong. What man doesn't stray? A wife can never match the thrill of a side chick." Well, he doesn't touch wildflowers either. Instantly insulted, the woman on the other end fell dead silent. It seemed those words had taken a massive blow to her pride. You could even hear her taking a deep breath, trying to compose herself. "Don't worry, little sister. Big sister here knows exactly how to hook him." "Auntie, you've got a lot of confidence." "But my husband only likes girls with long legs." And as it happens, I'm 172 centimeters tall. "How about you, Auntie? Are you even over 170 centimeters? And just like that, the call was hung up. The basketball game ended at the same time. In those final minutes, I got absolutely destroyed. Then, under the watchful eyes of everyone on the court, I walked up to that rare beauty and took a bottle of water from her. I tilted my head back to gulp it down, silently announcing to the world, "She's already taken." I couldn't care less what those kids were thinking. Looking at the phone in Xiaonuan's hand, I asked in confusion, "For me?" Xiaonuan smiled, shook her head, and said, "Just a spam call. Watching you get destroyed so badly on the court was too painful to watch." So I answered the call to pass the time. Well, feeling old and out of shape? I shrugged. With a world-class beauty like you sitting here, it's way more effective than any performance-enhancing drug. Let's go. In a minute, those kids are going to start treating me like their love rival. Just as the words left my mouth, the sound of dribbling echoed behind us. The young guy who had dunked a few times came up behind me and challenged me to a one-on-one. I didn't turn him down, only to get absolutely destroyed again. The kid was secretly thrilled, thinking he'd win the goddess's favor. Instead, he saw the goddess covering her mouth and giggling at me. But the moment she looked at him, his eyes were as cold as ice. Xiaowan and I walked away. The guys on the court completely lost their mood to play. They sat slumped on the ground like defeated puppies. The guy who had just made the slam dunk let out a heavy sigh and said, "I'm done. Why not use this time to go find a girlfriend instead?" Everyone nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, in a luxury apartment somewhere in the city, a woman stood furiously in front of her mirror, gritting her teeth. "Oh, so you're 172 centimeters and you're proud of it. Well, I'm practically 180. Damn it. This measuring tape must be broken. How on earth did I end up at 166? Anyway, I went to bed early, completely exhausted, both physically and mentally. The moment I closed my eyes, I drifted off to sleep. In the master bedroom, Yan was playing around with my vintage phone, staring at the 2 numbers on the screen. She recalled how the other person reacted when the call went through. No matter how she looked at it, something felt incredibly off. Could she actually have another woman on the side? Did he hook up with her even before the divorce? Even if he didn't love me, how could you already have a new woman just 2 days after our divorce? The more Shonoan thought about it, the angrier she got. She quickly dialed a number. The call was answered almost instantly. Shanwan, who was just looking furious, did a complete 180 the second the call connected. She smiled sweetly, her eyes crinkling. "Manager Lee, I'm so sorry to bother you this late. You're not asleep yet, are you?" It was a call from the company's vice president. How could he possibly say he was asleep? He quickly assured her that he was still wide awake. Zhao Wan smiled and continued. I heard you applied for annual leave a while ago but got rejected. Is everything okay at home? I see. Well, tomorrow is Saturday. Including Sunday, you can take 2 more days off. Will that be enough? Yes. That's more than enough. Good. Go to the office tomorrow to hand over your current tasks. I'll approve your leave request then. After a bit of small talk, the place...
Zhao Na finally got to the point.
Manager Lee, I heard from some colleagues that your spouse works in telecommunications. I have a phone number here. Could you help me look it up? No rush. Just let me know whenever you have a moment. I just need to find out who the SIM card is registered to. Once the call ended, Shanwan's face went cold again, returning to how she looked a moment ago. About half an hour later, Supervisor Lee called back. All for some time off. She actually kicked her husband out to the office in the dead of night.
The owner of that phone number.
But unfortunately, that number has incredibly high security clearance.
So they couldn't find out a thing.
Trembling with anxiety, Supervisor Lee reported the whole situation to Vice President Wen.
His time off was approved after all.
But even including the weekend, it was only 4 days.
Sitting on the bed, Shaeon stared at the number on her phone and muttered under her breath.
It's a vanity number, and a high-tier VIP user too. The weekend was quiet and uneventful.
Jiangwan went right back to how she behaved when we first got married.
Locking herself in her room, completely buried in her work.
The committee wants several companies to bid on a piece of land, an old, run-down residential block.
No matter how they run the numbers, the investment and risk departments only see a massive loss.
Jiangwan is terrified the committee will force this project onto her company.
I didn't bother disturbing her either, and just stayed on the first floor looking up the files I needed. In the afternoons, I'd squeeze in a quick workout. But as for playing basketball, nobody wants to play with me anymore. The guys on the court think I'm just there to show off. Honestly, these past 2 days have dragged on like an eternity.
I can't afford to waste a single minute right now.
A debt of $4 million a year is heavy enough to suffocate me, but at the same time, it gives me a massive rush.
On Monday morning, Shanwan quickly finished her breakfast and rushed off to work.
On her way out, she asked if I wanted a lift. I shook my head. It's out of your way. My mother-in-law seems to have completely forgotten about her gorgeous daughter.
He hasn't called once, and Shaoan hasn't picked up any calls these past 2 days either. It's starting to baffle me.
It's one thing for my mother-in-law not to call, but that guy overseas hasn't made a single call either.
Did Salwan really block him?
What on earth is she plotting now?
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ocean,
A grown man lay on his bed, staring blankly, utterly listless.
He couldn't figure out what Shaoan was up to either. How could she just block him out of the blue?
When we called her assistant, he was told that Shanwan and her husband had gone on their honeymoon.
Dude, Tim was so furious. He almost passed out on the spot. Just wait till I get back to the country. I'm dealing with him first.
To think he actually let that peasant beat him to the punch.
By the time I arrived at the company again, I'd gotten smarter. Crossing the plaza in front of Glory Group, I seriously could have been run over and killed by that crazy woman.
during my 3 years with Xuaonan,
I learned just how massive the gap is between the rich and the poor.
and it also made me a little wary of beautiful women.
Those girls who look flawless and glamorous in public, at home, they're probably just as messy as Yu Maoan. After all, she once told me that 90% of single women living alone are exactly like that. That totally shattered every beautiful illusion in my head.
I made it safely through the front doors of Glory Group.
By now, the employees were all arriving for work.
Once I put my suit back on, I looked pretty handsome.
I walked up to the front desk, showed my $499, and picked up my employment contract.
After I signed, the receptionist placed a piece of candy on top of the contract.
She squinted her eyes with a sweet smile and said, "Welcome to Glory Group.
This candy is a welcome gift from the company.
It means you should forget yesterday's bitterness.
Because your journey here at Glory is going to be sweet."
She had a round, adorable face. I smiled, just about to reply.
But the next second, a freezing voice cut in from behind. "Is everyone here really that free?
Is all your work done? If you've got nothing to do, go run 20 laps around the building. Don't stand around looking soft and sloppy. It ruins our company's image." Sui turned around, leaned against the reception desk, and stared at the fiercely approaching Liu Runai. She wore a pale yellow bodycon skirt,
A pair of 8-centimeter high heels.
and long, wine-red hair. This woman didn't look like a company general manager at all.
She looked more like some rich guy's kept mistress.
Gradually, the smile faded from Shui's face.
Liu Frahai and Adarti marched right up to him.
I had to admit, this woman was stunning, incredibly sultry, with the mesmerizing charm of a vixen, breathtakingly gorgeous. Too bad such a stunning vixen had to open her mouth. Don't know what you're supposed to be doing? If you don't know, go scrub the toilets. Don't just stand here being an eyesore.
Standing at the front desk isn't going to earn you an extra penny.
This chick is definitely on her period.
Following the principle that a good man doesn't fight with women, and that I couldn't win anyway, I turned to leave.
But before I could even take a step, Lu Ruyan grabbed my arm, snatched the contract from my hand, and glanced at it. Then she unleashed a raging storm of fury on the poor receptionist. The poor girl stood there, utterly clueless about what she had even done wrong. She kept her head down, her eyes red, not daring to say a word.
The planning department? Who the hell said she was going to the planning department? How many times do I have to tell you?
It's the General Affairs Department. General Affairs!
Shoei, go report to the General Affairs Department. Your contract will be delivered to you in a moment.
Now, get out of my sight. I'm in a terrible mood today.
Only 1% of Liu Rian's bad mood was because of Xu Yi. The other 99% was because of that piece of land that exceeded government limits.
Anyone who took on that project was bound to lose money.
And the thing Liu Rian feared most was taking a financial loss.
Su Yi took a deep breath. President Liu, I applied for a job in the planning department.
And now you're sending me to General Affairs? The salary in General Affairs is 1,000 yuan higher than in planning.
Plus, your bonuses remain the same. Understood, President Liu. Careful, you're about to expose yourself. I'm wearing safety shorts. All right, get lost.
Shihei had originally wanted to embarrass this woman,
But who would have thought she'd be so fierce?
After Shui left,
Liu Ren's temper seemed to cool down a bit.
having let off some steam, she felt much better.
She tapped on the reception desk.
And said coldly, "What are you crying for?"
If crying actually worked, I would have cried for a whole month by now.
go to finance and get a 200 yuan bonus.
Take 2 hours off. But don't fall behind on your work. The young girl's tears turned into a smile.
This was exactly why Liu Rian could lose her temper in the office without any of her employees hating her.
If they messed up, she would scold them mercilessly.
But once she was done, she would always find a way to make it up to them.
Everyone in the company agreed that President Liu had a sharp tongue, but a heart of gold. A young woman in her 20s, carrying such immense pressure to run a company.
It was already a miracle she hadn't broken down.
Yet she still found ways to take care of her employees. Lu Raya let out a sigh as she stepped into the elevator. What should I do now?
Once she reached the General Affairs Department, he didn't run into any trouble.
The supervisor was a woman in her mid-30s, surnamed Yang, who had a very gentle personality. There are about 12 or 13 employees in the department, and most of them are around Xu Yi's age. The deputy supervisor is a bit older, probably around 40. He's quite a character, that middle-aged guy.
Suri spent the entire morning observing the atmosphere in the General Affairs Department.
It was incredibly laid back. Practically no one was actually working. Once in a while, someone would print out a few documents and deliver them to other departments.
But that was about it.
Some were watching movies, while others were playing video games.
But this easygoing environment didn't make Shi feel relaxed or comfortable at all.
He couldn't afford to slack off right now. He wanted to be in the planning department. Only there could he find the opportunities he needed. The planning department was like a battlefield, whereas this place felt more like a retirement home. He managed to survive until lunchtime.
But no one else seemed to have any intention of getting food.
And quietly asked a coworker next to him what people usually did for lunch.
Are you hungry? Let's go together.
I didn't really feel like going alone anyway.
The coworker seemed very easygoing.
As they left the department and headed down to the first floor cafeteria, they chatted briefly and introduced themselves.
The young man's name was Su Lang. He was a few months younger than Shi Yi
And had only been with the company for 2 months.
He didn't even really know what the General Affairs Department was supposed to do.
To him, printing a few files every day was the extent of their work.
But Sitter Yang seems busy every single day, and none of us have any idea what she's actually busy with. In the cafeteria, they ran into Manager Sound and
Manager Zhao from HR, and they smiled and greeted each other.
the food at Glory was actually quite good.
Xu Yi ordered a serving of rice.
做修两挂的伯乐必苏斗。
Just as they were about to start eating,
Manager Zhao walked over with 2 bottles of juice.
he set the juice down in front of Xu Yi. With a slightly embarrassed look, Manager Zhao asked Xu Yi, "Actually, Mr. Liu is a really good guy,
I heard you were transferred to the General Affairs Department.
and I feel really bad about it. The contract I offered you was originally for the planning department, but General Admin is actually pretty good too. It's a department President Liu set up right after joining the company. When there's no work, you've got basically nothing to do. But once things get busy, it's never a small matter. Look, if you really don't want to stay,
Give me a few days, and I'll find a way to transfer you over to the planning department.
of course, going to the planning department would be ideal. But if I can't, I won't force it. Going to General Admin was an order personally handed down by President Liu this morning. I couldn't exactly refuse, right? I just want to work hard while I'm still young
And learn as much as I can.
So,
If it's possible,
I'll have to trouble you, Manager Zhao. Manager Zhao smiled and shook his head. It's no trouble at all. It's all part of my job anyway.
Well, go ahead and finish your lunch.
I still have some things to take care of. What is there to do in the middle of the day anyway?
Xu Yi smiled and nodded.
standing up to see Manager Zhao out.
As he sat back down,
Zaya looked at the 2 bottles of juice on the table and muttered, "Brie, you don't like it in General Admin?"
The days are so relaxed here, and the pay is higher than in other departments.
Why go suffer in the planning department? Well, if you don't want to say, just pretend I never asked. It's not like I'm really interested in that stuff anyway.
I was just wondering if you and President New had some kind of misunderstanding.
Haha, when I first came to the company, I didn't know my way around.
I almost got run over by President Liu. I didn't even know who she was at the time, so we had a massive fight. As soon as he said that, Stout's face went completely pale. Leaned forward slightly. He whispered,
A few days ago, someone got into a fight with President Liu, right in front of the elevator.
I heard they even yanked her hair.
Brody, that wasn't you, was it?
Well, if you're talking about what happened on Friday,
Yeah, that was probably me. Stop gossiping and just eat your food.
Bro-he, you are a true hero.
Soya added before lowering his head to eat his noodles. By the looks of it, he didn't seem worried about getting dragged into this at all.
hard to tell if he's just completely clueless or just a really easygoing guy. But Shui couldn't bring himself to laugh anymore. It suddenly hit him. Was Manager Zhao from HR just over here trying to fish for info on President Liu's behalf? If that was the case, he was dead meat.
Lu Van would absolutely never let him join the planning department.
What a disaster. And as it turned out, Suyi's guess was spot on. After leaving the cafeteria, Manager jogged all the way up to the general manager's office on the 14th floor.
She stood outside the door, took a deep breath, and pushed it open.
Before she could even say another word, a folder came flying right at her. It brushed right past Manager Zhao's waist.
Terrified, Manager Zhao froze on the spot, not daring to make a single move.
With fury burning in her eyes, Lu Ran gritted her teeth and snarled. Did the planning department raise a pack of useless bums? Is this the best proposal they can come up with?
Do they think everyone else is an idiot? If this project is rigged to land in our laps, Chaksha will absolutely screw us over during the bidding. Build a goddamn commercial building, like hell we are. Who the hell would even shop on this pedestrian street? What, do they go to a pedestrian street just to watch planes take off? Manager Zhao picked up the documents from the floor and placed them back on the desk.
She then immediately took 5 or 6 steps back, keeping her distance.
Rurian sighed and dialed a number. It would have been better if she hadn't made that call. After hearing the result, she fell apart even more.
Vice President Wen from Changjiang used his family connections to get them out of this mess.
Since Changxiong escaped being the sucker, it's Rong Yao's turn now.
The city only has 2 major real estate companies.
The government will never go to those small, no-name companies. And those small companies wouldn't dare touch this hot potato anyway.
Li Ria slumped back, all the strength draining from her body.
She rested her chin on the desk.
Looking at Manager Zhao like a kicked puppy.
Sister Zhao, what am I supposed to do?
We're basically just waiting for an official decree to force Rong Ya to take over this hot potato.
We are guaranteed to lose money on this.
Actually, forget it. Asking you is pointless.
Manager Zhao gave an awkward, embarrassed smile. He lowered her head and whispered, President Liu,
This kind of project and planning isn't really my forte.
You should probably ask Vice President Kang.
Him? He can't wait to see me step down anyway.
By the way, what about that thing I asked you to find out about you?
Yeah, about sending him to the General Administration Department.
Honestly, I still feel a little bad about it. Rian seemed like she didn't have an ounce of strength left.
Speaking in a completely drained voice, Manager Zhao recalled how Xu Yi had looked just moments ago. He softly replied, I did a little digging on this guy. His degree is fake. He faked his way into the Changjiang group, and in less than a year, he's already made quite a name for himself in our planning department.
Later on, he apparently became a personal consultant for someone specific.
He still wants to join the planning department.
But he doesn't seem that keen on it. He has a maturity that doesn't match his age.
Right now, I just want to set that damn planning department on fire. Wait, does he actually know anything about planning?
During the interview, he seemed to know a thing or two.
Understood. Go ahead and get back to work.
Tell Xiu Yangyang to have the planning department draft up another proposal.
And tell the project department to give me an answer as soon as possible. If they can't get it done, nobody's going home tonight. Oh, and remember to order dinner for them.
Manager Zhao nodded in agreement.
And scurried out of the general manager's office. She, who was about to take a quick nap after lunch, was suddenly woken up by a crisp, clear voice. He looked up to see a cute, poker-faced girl in business attire, bouncing and skipping into the general department. She seemed very familiar with everyone in the room. Those playing games quickly shut them down, while some female colleagues even offered her snacks.
But the little poker face didn't get to show off for long. A dry cough from Sister Yang scared her straight, and she quickly clung to the arm of Yang Lan, the general department director, calling her sister in a sweet, clinging voice.
Yang Ling looked at her sister with a helpless sigh. Aren't you supposed to be over at Mr. Liu's office?
Why did you sneak over here again?
Careful, or Mr. Liu is going to teach you a lesson. Wrinkling her nose, Yang shot back. I didn't sneak out. Mr. Liu would never scold me. Besides,
I have to help him keep all those annoying flies away. By the way, sis, which one is Xu Yi?
Mr. Liu wants me to find him.
At those words, everyone's eyes instantly locked onto Xu Yi.
西西挨都去。
He never in a million years expected this woman's revenge to come so fast.
Leaning over the desk next to him, Su Lao whispered,
Hey, bro Yi, do you think we'll ever see you back here alive?
Because I noticed you've got a really nice pack of cigarettes in your pocket.
Xu Yi smiled and joked that.
But to his surprise, Su Lao immediately shoved the pack of cigarettes into his hand.
Clutching her stomach, she burst out laughing.
Haha, bro, she's totally got you figured out.
The one speaking was Yang Jia, an emotionless, doll-like girl. She sidled up to Su Yi, sizing him up from head to toe. Finally, she turned to look at Yan Lan.
She squinted and smiled.
So, he's Sui, huh?
He's actually pretty handsome.
No wonder he got hired, even after getting into a fight with Miss Liu.
许舅，有事是了宽长去抵达斯路厂长的。
Go on, off you go.
The office at the very end of the 14th floor is Miss Liu's.
Xu Yi looked at the little girl, frowned, and said with a chuckle, Aren't you coming?
Yang Jia squinted and smiled. I, your sister Yang, only step in when you're in deep trouble.
Well, you're in trouble right now.
But I'm hungry.
Then stay hungry. Su Yi stood up. Ignoring Yang Jia, who was clearly trying to shake him down, he smiled at Yang Lan and said, I'll be back soon.
Director Yang smiled and nodded, but the moment she turned to look at her own sister, her smile vanished.
She grabbed her by the ear and dragged her into her office. On his way to Miss Liu's office,
苏一雷的习惯。
he had no idea what was wrong with that woman, Liu Ruyan. But no matter what, he had to endure it.
Glory was his only chance.
Standing outside the general manager's office, he heard Liu Ruyan's voice from inside. Shui pushed the door open, walked in, and said respectfully, Miss Liu?
You wanted to see me? At that moment, Liu Ruyan was slumped over,
Weak, rolling her eyes at her desk. She spoke in a weak, exhausted voice. If I didn't want to see you,
do you think anyone else would just let you walk into my office?
I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. You put your hands on me and grab me by the hair.
I am going to torture you. If you can't take it, then get the hell out.
I'll even pay you triple your salary. If you can accept that, then clean up this office.
This is part of the General Affairs Department's job anyway.
All right, Miss Liu. I'll go get the mop and rag right away.
She accepted it calmly,
which made Liu Rian feel like she couldn't see through him at all. She watched in silence as Shi mopped the floor and cleaned up the fruit peels on the coffee table.
After watching for a while, she grew bored. She lowered her head and went back to reviewing the land files from the various departments.
The more she read, the angrier she got. She realized she was paying a bunch of useless pigs.
Did they seriously think they could outdo legacy department stores?
Are they blind, or are they just completely deaf?
Do they not know Rongyao Department Store is already right in the city center? And this genius wants to build a new market right across from the wholesale plaza?
This is an absolute joke.
And someone actually suggested opening an RT Mart? Have they completely lost their minds? Out of pure frustration, she let out a piercing shriek.
The sudden scream made Xu Yi jump in terror. Then he watched as this crazy woman swept every single document off her desk and onto the floor.
And then her high heels went flying right after them.
Dr. Tree took a deep breath. He leaned down and began to clean up, showing absolutely no emotion on his face.
But on the inside, he was starting to seriously question his life choices. Was he really destined to spend his entire life as a house husband?
He spent all 3 years of his marriage doing nothing but chores. He thought he was finally free after the divorce. But then Wen-No-One came right back into his life. He thought getting a job meant doing some actual, meaningful work. But here he was again, cleaning up and catering to women. Chewy was now firmly convinced that he must have offended a lot of women in his past life. He gathered the files and placed them neatly back on her desk,
only for Lu Ruan to sweep them right back onto the floor.
And pick them up again. Only for Lu Ruai to push them off yet again. Seeing this,
Lu Yuan flew into a rage.
She swept all the files straight into the trash can,
along with Yu Ruan's high heels.
Then, he calmly began to mop the floor.
Juzi, are you out of your mind? You actually threw away my shoes? Now, you carry me home on your back.
Can't carry me? Isn't carrying the general manager home part of the administration department's duties? I'm paying a bunch of useless bums.
And I am not one of those useless bums.
Suyi, do you really think I won't fire you?
This view. Did you think I applied here to be your personal maid? Even the mildest person has their limits. Besides, Xu Yi was already completely immune to beautiful women.
And he had Wen-No-One to thank for that, the young mistress of the Wen family. Meanwhile, Liu Ruan was so angry she was hyperventilating,
her finger hovering over the very last digit to call HR.
Her full chest rises and falls rapidly with her heavy breathing.
Too bad Shi has his back turned, completely missing the spectacular view. If he saw it, he'd probably feel pretty sorry for Wen-No-One.
I mean, how could the difference between them be this huge?
It takes him half an hour to finish cleaning the office.
Just as he's about to empty the trash,
He looks up and asks, President Liu, should I throw these proposals away? And should I head back to the general department now?
Go wherever the hell you want. Just looking at you pisses me off.
Lu Rian snaps back, her voice dripping with irritation.
But just as Xu Yi is stepping out of the office,
Lu Ria suddenly loses her temper and yells,
Xu Yi, you absolute bastard.
bring my shoes back here right now.
Su phrases in his tracks.
He looks down at the high heels sitting inside the trash bin, an embarrassed look crossing his face. He completely forgot he put them in there. Carrying the bin back into her office,
He pulls out the pair of shoes. He scratches his head sheepishly. President Liu,
I'll just leave these here for you.
Lu Rian stands up.
Stepping barefoot onto the cold tile floor,
Xu Yi frowns at the sight.
but decides to keep his mouth shut to avoid any more trouble. Lu Ria walks right past him, tossing her shoes aside. She looks up, locking her eyes onto his. She is completely out of options. Her alluring, fox-like eyes are filled with a mix of vulnerability and stubborn defiance.
Su Yi,
Please, help me.
苏怡是贴下了把。
He looks down at the trash bin in his hands and pieced it together what's going on.
Taking a deep breath,
He asks quietly, So, you're treating me as a desperate last resort?
Lu Ria ums, painfully honest.
I can't think of anyone else. The planning and project departments have tried everything they could. And I can't count on the useless people in the general department. If this fails, I'll have nowhere left to go. I'm very expensive, Xu Yi replies. And don't think you can pay me back with your body. In my eyes, you're nothing compared to cold, hard cash. And right now, I really need money. I only wanted to join the planning department because I need the money. I already heard from Manager Zhao in HR how much you can offer me. The department you interviewed for here at Glory was planning. You hear your way around planning, right? If you can guarantee your proposal will pass the executive meeting without losing money, I'll pay you 200,000. Give me time. 1 week, at most. That's too late. You'll only have 2 days. Then, triple the pay. Neither of us loses out. Once looking, Lu Rian is no fool. If the proposal fails,
徐以往给了星斗叛逆。
and she'll get to see what he's truly made of. Even if he does absolutely nothing right now. He'd just go back to the general department and play video games for 2 days anyway. Women are born actresses, especially when they're playing the victim. And for he had nothing to lose either. It was just about using his skills to make some money. This was all part of his plan in coming to Glory. Only in this place would he have the chance to uncover the real problems and then solve them.
就以来自离别九路那留有爱彼憾。
All he cared about right now was the money. After he'd been gone for over half an hour, the people in the general department were already gossiping, trying to guess who this mysterious newcomer was. Some asked Yayan for details. Others were secretly jeering in their hearts. Lu Diran's heart must be fluttering with desire. She probably fell for this pretty boy. That's just how ugly human nature can be. Of course, they only dared to think it in their heads. People always hate on what they can't have. Not to mention, Liu Ria always dressed so provocatively. So much for humans being born good. A filthy mind is something people are born with.
Young Len, driven by curiosity, also asked Jiayang why the Su Yi guy got called into President Liu's office on his very first day of work,
Especially since he started working before even completing his onboarding paperwork. Gossip is second nature to women. And with Xiaoyan, the ultimate gossip queen, on the case, she had already dug up everything there was to know about Xi Yi. Cautiously, she peered left and right. Lowering her voice, she whispered, Sis. This guy, Xu Yi, he is definitely not as innocent as he looks.
I heard that back on Friday during his interview, he actually got into a physical fight with President Liu.
They were tearing each other apart. He picked a fight with President Liu. The young man's eye twitched slightly in disbelief. To be honest, this was not exactly a secret around the office. Ever since Friday, everyone had been gossiping, trying to guess who on earth had the guts to throw hands with the company's resident she-devil. Just picturing the scene made Yang Lan's head hurt. It looked like their peaceful, quiet general department had just inherited a major troublemaker. While the two of them were busy gossiping, there was a sudden knock on the office door. Mr. Yang, President Liu wants her secretary to get back to her office right away. Something has come up.
就细死吧。
Hearing this, little Yang did not dare slack off in the general department any longer. She scrambled to her feet and scurried out the door, but she did not forget to snatch a handful of snacks from the department stash on her way out. The girl might have been petite, but her appetite for snacks was massive. This instantly made Zhu Yi picture Wan curled up on the sofa, hoarding her snacks. His absolute biggest pet peeve was people eating in bed or lounging on the couch, leaving crumbs absolutely everywhere. He slumped into his chair, completely spacing out. He realized he had completely forgotten to ask Liu Ruyan for those files. Don't tell me he had to walk all the way back to her office. Just thinking about Liu Ruyan's sharp tongue and attitude, Zhu Yi could not now help but shudder. Yeah, let us hold off on that, he thought. He would just wait until little Yang was free and ask her instead. And if that failed, He could always go to the sweet and gentle Sister Yang.
哇西西我老实到，他才到。
Su Liang tracked his chair over, nudging right up next to him, and whispered, "Hey, yeah.
Did you survive the trip?
Did President Yu try to get payback for Friday?"
Tu Si reached out, palmed Liang's head, and shoved it back. You little chatterbox.
Since when did you become such a gossip queen?
But actually, you are not wrong. President Liu absolutely wanted payback. She made me clean her entire office.
And then dumped a mountain of work on me. If I had known she was the big boss from the start,
There is no way in hell I would have laid a hand on her.
oh please, yeah.
Do not act like you were the victim here when you actually scored.
Sure, President Liu has a bit of a temper. She is a certified goddess, through and through. So many guys would gladly take a beating just to get one extra look at President Liu. Next time you don't want to go, let me.
Liang had a totally sleazy look on his face.
Xu Yi, on the other hand, stared at Su Liang, his eyes sparkling with amusement.
Are you serious? No takebacks.
I heard President Liu is wearing a short skirt and high heels today.
Who knew you had a fetish like that?
I'd let her whip me any day.
是叫醒行了蒲堕的落，累复宜肯壁里叙事。
Just then, the girl sitting across from them muttered under her breath, "What a bunch of perverts." But Su Liang actually let it go,
Leaving Xu Yi to argue with the girl about the fine line between being a pervert
and being in love. To be honest, Su Liang's easygoing personality was quite to Xi's liking.
After all, making friends shouldn't be exhausting. He really didn't have the energy to play mind games with anyone. Suddenly, a flurry of hurried footsteps echoed from the doorway.
杨江夹我吧。
She was clutching more than 20 folders in her arms. Seeing a perfect chance to suck up to Yang Jia, the desperate guys in the department immediately swarmed forward.
They rushed over to help.
But she kicked every single one of them away.
Hey, I'm still a kid. Don't you dare try to take advantage of me.
As she spoke, she carried the thick stack of files straight to Su Yi.
She slammed them down onto his desk with a loud thud.
She's always hanging around the department, slacking off and messing around.
小叶 please don't take her childishness to heart.
Oh, so they're actually sisters. How did a gentle soul like Sister Yang end up with such a mischievous little sister? Shui scratched his head, feeling a bit awkward. He looked around and saw all his colleagues snickering at him.
Flushing with embarrassment, Xu Yi scratched his head again and mumbled, "Actually, it was my fault.
I shouldn't have teased Youngji like that.
Yanlan shook her head.
With a gentle smile, she said, "We're all colleagues now, and we'll be seeing each other every day.
There's no need to be so formal.
Besides, President Liu just called me. She said she needs to see the results by Thursday. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me."
Got it, Sister Yang. Xi Yu had suddenly been assigned a major task. This instantly rubbed the other employees in the department the wrong way.
Especially since this was a task personally assigned by President Liu herself. If we're gonna be slackers, let's all be slackers together. When you suddenly start working so hard, it makes the rest of us look incredibly lazy. Standing out so blatantly doesn't look good to any department manager. Nobody actually wants to work, and they certainly don't want to see Shui working either. As a newcomer, you need to follow the rules here. Trying to set a new standard and suck up to the bosses on your very first day? Shui had no idea what these people were thinking. But then again, he wasn't like them anyway. Their salaries were already enough to cover their living expenses, and maybe some of them didn't even need to work for a living at all. But Shuya was desperately short on money.
Right now, Winwan seems easygoing. But over time, once Du Sitting comes back and starts whispering in her ear,
After all, human hearts are fragile, and anyone can be swayed. He took a date, found the most basic files, and wanted to see what kind of major roadblock had completely killed off all the previous proposals. He spent the entire afternoon going through them.
when Sulam finally called out that it was time to clock out,
Suyu realized it was already 5 o'clock.
it was indeed time to pack up and go home.
Just as Shui was packing up his files to take them home,
这两三里不是摇马让曲一手打的贵美。
and whispered, "Brother Yi, don't work so hard. Not everyone likes to see someone putting in so much effort." Suyu froze for a moment, instantly understanding what Sulam meant. He took a deep breath and smiled self-deprecatingly. Lying. If you knew the kind of pressure I'm under, maybe you'd understand. I have no intention of starting a rat race with anyone. Stang still kept that same playful, carefree smile. Everyone has their own life to live, but you still need to watch your back. This task is really tough. I saw you frowning all afternoon. If you need help. Need it? Haha. Brother Yi, I was just being polite. Maybe he was just acting, or maybe because she hadn't made a friend in a very long time. But their close, chummy behavior rubbed the others the wrong way. Especially to some men. In their eyes, Su Liang is nothing but a dog wagging its tail.
所以喝一棒看街霸。
I'm starving! Just as Xu Yi was about to work overtime, when Nuan's call came in. He had completely forgotten there was another mouth waiting to be fed at home.
A habit built over 3 years made Siu He choose to drop his work and head home.
After all, some tasks could wait until he got back.
Qinshan told Sulayan that they would squeeze onto the bus tomorrow and head home together.
On his way, he thought there should be some leftovers from yesterday's dinner.
He could just heat it up to get through another meal tonight.
But then he questioned himself. Would Wen no one ever agree to that?
We're already divorced.
Why do I still care what she thinks?
His mind was at war the entire way home.
In the end, he decided not to buy any groceries and went straight home.
Opening the door, he saw Wen Noan curled up on the sofa, munching on potato chips. Sui stood there, completely speechless.
Did she really look like she was about to starve to death?
文落嘛，少许一桶。
She quickly hid the potato chips. Kneeling on the sofa, she whined loudly that she was starving. She even threatened to call her former mother-in-law
And tell her that she was mistreating her.
Sui took a deep breath. It was a busy first day on the job.
I'm still getting used to it.
Just don't call my mom.
A few days ago, she was still asking if we were going back for Chinese New Year. If she finds out we're divorced,
You'll probably be fine. But she'll literally kill me.
Oh, come on. Chinese New Year is still months away. Stop nagging. I'm starving to death.
I already bought the groceries. They're in the kitchen.
Go on, hurry up. If you don't, I'll tell Mom.
That you were the one who wanted the divorce. When one hadn't switched to calling her auntie yet.
And she didn't mind either.
He walked into the kitchen and started making dinner. Looking at the groceries tossed on the counter, he couldn't help but let out a soft grin. Almost everything she bought was his favorite. He wasn't sure if Wen Wan had just grabbed them by chance, or if she did it on purpose.
As he busied himself in the kitchen, Shi Yi suddenly remembered the task Li Ruyan had handed him.
He couldn't help but ask no one.
I heard they're redeveloping a plot of land right next to the airport, on the border of Xinlin district.
Did Changshan submit a bid for it?
It's not really a bidding process.
The city is just looking for a sucker among the local businesses. Whoever takes that land is going to lose a fortune, no matter what they do.
Our board of directors pulled some strings.
So Changxing is only there to make up the numbers.
Why do you ask? Is your new company bidding on it too? Without him noticing, Noan had appeared at the kitchen door.
She leaned against the doorframe, tilting her head to watch Shi Yi cook.
Her sudden voice gave him a fright. He turned around, frowning. What are you doing in here?
I don't actually know if we're bidding on it.
I just heard some coworkers talking about it.
So I was curious.
It's definitely going to lose money. That airport is used to train rookie pilots, so there's no way they'll relocate it. It's that old residential area, right across from the home improvement plaza. The planes often run training sessions late at night, which has caused major conflicts between the residents and the airport. Even City Hall can't get those residents to relocate. But the government doesn't want to swallow the loss either, so they're just looking for a scapegoat to dump it on?
Sui put down his kitchen knife, turned around and frowned.
Is that really what's going on? Well, modern buildings have pretty decent soundproofing these days.
But buyers expect elevators now, while building height limits prevent us from going any higher. And that location isn't right for garden apartments either.
The morning traffic there is a nightmare. And picking up kids would be a huge hassle.
Plus, across the street is the home improvement plaza, the pharmaceutical wholesale market, and the bus terminal. And just a bit further down are the Armad Supermarket and Well Street. Honestly, it feels like any project there is doomed to fail.
But who's footing the bill for the relocation? Just focus on your cooking first.
I'm starving!
One threatened, playfully raising her fist at Shui.
He quickly turned back to get dinner ready.
At this moment, Noan continued.
The relocation seems to be handled by City Hall.
But you still have to buy the land.
They're calling it an auction. But in reality, someone will get the word before the bidding even starts. Who gets it is already decided. The auction is just for show. It's been like this for years. The city officials have always cut our major conglomerates a lot of slack, so none of us can easily say no to them. That plot of land, you can't build residential complexes there, and a shopping mall is out of the question.
If it's too short, it looks pathetic.
But if it's too tall, the airport authority will block it.
It's an absolute train wreck.
Honestly, I hope Glory Group takes the bait.
Once they do, they won't have the energy to compete with Fangxiang.
As Shui focuses on cooking, a clear picture begins to form in his mind.
It seems Liu Yuran already knows this mess is going to fall right onto Glory Group's lap. $400,000 in just 2 days. Even if we lose money, how much could we possibly lose? If they don't develop that land within 5 years, the government will reclaim it. The city officials will force their hand to build something. No matter what they do, once you factor in the land value and the construction costs, the losses will be right around what you owe me.
But I'm talking about actual net losses.
Honestly, the biggest hit will be to their reputation.
Forget about all this useless stuff.
You should be focusing on how you're going to pay me back. Just thinking about you divorcing me makes my blood boil. Tonight, I want a massive feast. 4 main courses and 8 side dishes, even if there are eggshells in it.
Are you going to eat it or not?
树一性癖异浓，文呢？
During dinner, She stomps on his foot over a dozen times under the table, but Xu Yi doesn't even flinch. After dinner, as he washes the dishes,
When no one storms upstairs in a huff, Sui has absolutely no idea why she suddenly flew off the handle.
it's not like he did anything to set her off. Well, if he can't figure it out, he might as well stop trying.
Once he finishes the chores,
Sochi heads back up to the second floor and goes back to reviewing his documents. There's no rush to draft the business proposal just yet. He needs to find his entry point into this city first. He can't let himself be short-sighted and focus solely on this single plot of land as he loses himself in his work. The bedroom door is suddenly flung open.
Ren No, just in her pajamas, pounces straight onto Su Yi, hitting and biting him playfully.
Only after pinning Shi beneath her and declaring her absolute victory does she finally strut out of the room with a smug grin. And she snatches Si's phone on her way out, bluntly reminding him that even in a divorce, there is still a cooling-off period. I already blocked her. My stomach hurts, so you behave yourself. If you dare hook up with another woman behind my back, you're paying me back right now. Sui looked at Wanon in utter despair and sighed. Only a fool would choose a man who is 4 million in debt. Besides, I don't even have WeChat. Who could I possibly hook up with? You even forced me to delete my only QQ account. Wanon, come over here. You and I need to talk. You just beat me up without even letting me explain. Come over here. Seeing Shi about to get up, when no one quickly grabbed Shui's phone and dialed a number, just as Shui stood up. And no one cried out at the top of her lungs. Mom, Shui is going to me. Now things were getting serious. Sui never expected Wennon to actually call his mom. So dropped all his work immediately, frantically explaining to his mom on the other end that he was just messing around with Wennon and that he never had any intention of laying a hand on her. But the phone was snatched away by his dad, who immediately gave Shi a relentless scolding. The old man hadn't achieved much in his life, but he had one great quality. He had never made mom cook a single meal, and he had never once lost his temper with her. Hearing that Shui wanted to beat his wife was something the old man absolutely could not tolerate. In the end, Shi had to beg Wennon to vouch for him before the matter was finally resolved. His mom then ordered the two of them to come home for New Year this year, saying the elderly couple wouldn't bother coming all the way to visit them anymore. If the kids didn't come home, it wouldn't even feel like New Year. The call disconnected. Shusi lay on the tatami mat, staring blankly up at the ceiling.
fine, whatever.
But now they want both of us to go back for New Year.
If you don't go, Mom will interrogate us to no end. And if she finds out we've divorced,
Your primary stronghold will basically be gone. When no one sat cross-legged beside Shi, curled her lips and scoffed. Look at how pathetic you are. Me going back for New Year to see Mom has nothing to do with you.
besides, Mom treats me way better than Chenon2 ever did. Now go take a shower.
It's not like you're sleeping with me tonight anyway.
I'll do the dishes. But no one, are you a dog? Let go of me. While Wanon and Ci were messing around, Dusitong had already boarded a flight back to the country.
He couldn't wait any longer. On the day of our college graduation, the school beauty gave me 4 million yuan
To be her contract husband for 3 years. But over those 3 years, I forgot about our agreement. This morning, half awake and half asleep,
I crawled into her bed,
which she kicked me right off. You bastard, don't touch me! And so, tormented in both body and soul, I spent 2,000 days and nights like this.
Today, I just couldn't take it anymore. Joan Noan.
Let's get a divorce.
The breakfast atmosphere, which had been perfectly fine, instantly froze because of my words. Have you really thought this through?
You're the one bringing up divorce.
That means you owe me 4 million yuan in compensation.
And if you can't pay me back that 4 million,
We will send you right back to prison.
Yet Noan said, her tone laced with a heavy threat.
She didn't actually want a divorce right now. 3 years was enough to make her used to having someone named CE around. I smiled and nodded. Let's divorce. It wouldn't be right to wait until he comes back to do this. For the past 3 years, thank you for taking care of me. As for the 4 million, I owe you.
I'll find a way to pay you back within a year. Are you free today?
Let's go finalize the paperwork this afternoon. Her pride wouldn't let her give me another chance. And we didn't even wait until the afternoon, barely 10 minutes after the Civil Affairs Bureau opened. We walked right out. Xiaonon didn't even look at me as she drove off. Left standing outside, my eyes were filled with bitterness. She hadn't even driven 200 meters. My phone call made her pull over to the side of the road. The moment she answered, a voice, both familiar and strange, came from the other end. Yao Noan.
I didn't even answer your phone last night. I was so excited to tell you that I'm coming back to the country soon.
But when I finished speaking, he was the one who answered and said he knew. Could it be that you two have already...
Do me a favor and get those ridiculous delusions out of your head. I left my phone on the first floor last night. Is there anything else?
I'm busy. After hearing another woman's voice coming through the line,
脚都帮你静静地行了多钟。
she suddenly felt like she must have completely lost her mind back then. How could she have ever fallen for such a worthless playboy? Between dealing with the divorce and being thoroughly disgusted by Dusida,
Donovan just couldn't bring herself to go to work.
the president of the Wen Group, who had never skipped a single day of work for no reason, miraculously played truant.
She drove straight back to the Wen family mansion when no one pushed the door open and walked straight into the bedroom. Her mother, Chen Nuan-Q, who was still in bed, tilted her head to look at her precious daughter.
Before she knew it, Wen Noan threw her arms around her. Mom!
Xu Yu and I got a divorce.
By 11 o'clock, inside the Wen mansion,
Sha Noan was forced to sit on the sofa, facing a full interrogation from her parents.
Old Wen usually spoiled his daughter rotten.
Today, he didn't stand up for her at all.
He just stood by and let his precious daughter get scolded.
Unaman, you really don't know how good you had it.
You've been bullying Shi this whole time.
And we let that slide.
But how on earth could you divorce him? But how would you divorce him? Nothing has been smooth sailing for you at work these past few years. But who do you think was secretly helping you behind your back? All those projects and tasks of yours.
Which one of them wasn't Shui working on in the middle of the night for you? He took care of your every single need at home.
Honestly, wasting all his incredible talents just to serve you. He cooked breakfast and dinner for you every single day, drew your bathwater, and he even washed your underwear. I wonder who it was that recently told me, "It's so wonderful having a man at home."
And now you're telling me you divorced him.
Shu Yu must have cursed his own ancestors for lifetimes.
To have ended up with a spoiled brat like you. Stewed by the scolding. Yao Wan's face burned with embarrassment.
She puffed out her chest and shot back. Am I your daughter, or is Shu Yi?
Let me tell you something.
就是我是the one who 进烂的妒火。
Your precious daughter is the one who got dumped.
Hearing this, Old Wen immediately blew his top.
Fuming, he whipped out his phone to demand answers from that brat, wanting to know exactly how his precious daughter wasn't good enough for him.
But before she could even make the call,
全都举办个奇幻。好多人又考来拿洗衣。
Aren't you afraid he'll say, "No one has another man in her heart"? Isn't she just waiting for that punk from the Du family to come back? Do you think I don't know? Or that Shu Yi doesn't know? Let me tell you, Noan. If you dare to be with that punk from the Du family, I'll strip you of all your shares. Then we'll see how fast that punk from the Du family kicks you to the curb. Those shares belong to Dad.
ask your father if he even dares to give them to you.
Old Wen, do you want to practice some military boxing?
陈赖哭过来，大话。
This time, he stood on his wife's side.
Then, frowning, he said softly to Noan, "I'm with your mother on this. We will never agree to you being with Dezeking."
Wanning looked up.
Anger flashed in her eyes as she stared at her parents. Gritting her teeth, she spat out in rage. Shu Yi is the one who doesn't want your daughter anymore.
It's not that I don't want him.
Last night, Du Ziden called to tell me he's coming back. He said he wants to marry me as soon as he returns. Shu Yi was the one who answered the call.
Stu?
And this morning he asked for a divorce? What is the point of blaming me? If you think Shi Yi is so great, go find him yourself.
Faced with Noan's rebellion, Jan Nokwu clearly didn't take her seriously.
With a mocking look at her daughter, she sneered, "Do you think your little tricks can fool your own mother?" Tone down. So, Du Ziton is coming back, is he?
Starting tomorrow, I will sell your house at half price.
Since you're divorced, you'll move back home.
If you dare to come home past 9 in the evening, I will break your legs.
In the future, you can date whoever you want. Except for Du Ziking, I am making myself perfectly clear today.
You are not going anywhere today.
I'm going to find CE right now and ask him exactly why he wants a divorce. Nan, you'd better hope Shi doesn't tell me the truth.
With that, Chen Noan-Tu stood up, casting a threatening glare at Old Bren. If he dares to let Wen Yuan set foot out of this house, he can forget about having a single day of peace. With her military background, Chen Doan-Ku never beat around the bush. She wasn't the type to coddle Xiao Wan with sweet talk either, because Old Wen already played that soft role. If she didn't put her foot down,
No one in this house would be able to control that girl. Chin Monkyu went back to her room, brought out a property deed, and glared at Sun Wan. If you don't want your second uncle to send his troops to drag you back, you'd better behave and stay right here. I'll sell this house today and go find C.
fine, do whatever the hell you want.
He's probably the one you picked up from the streets. Go find your precious son, Shi then.
村門口一兩團難。
Opened to the front door and stormed out. Meanwhile, having no idea where to go, I was wandering aimlessly down the street. Suddenly, the phone in my hand buzzed. Looking at the caller 499 that read, "Mother-in-law," cold sweat broke out on my forehead.
Trembling, I picked up the call.
Hello? Hello, you little brat. Have I been way too nice to you lately? Try saying hello one more time. I dare you.
I'll call the military right now to have you shot, you little bastard. Mom, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
That's more like it.
It's already noon. You haven't eaten yet, right? I'm waiting for you at the Bixen Kaylee restaurant. We need to talk about your divorce with Xiaowan. I'm only giving you 10 minutes.
Don't you dare stand me up.
I know. If I don't show up, you'll send the military to drag me there. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I promise.
The summer midday heat was absolutely brutal. Unable to catch a cab, I ran all the way there. When I finally burst into the private room, my mother-in-law was just pulling out her phone, looking like she was about to make a call.
Kang Non-tu looked at me, panting for breath,
And gave a slight nod. Not bad. Even after the divorce, you still respect me as your mother-in-law.
Now tell me, why on earth did you divorce Winwan?
Think very carefully before you answer.
Otherwise, I might actually end you. Seeing this, I had no choice but to lie, claiming that I had a medical issue down there and couldn't have children.
Get up. We're going to the hospital.
I'm calling Xiaowan right now.
get it over here to keep me company.
When it comes to my mother-in-law, I'm completely powerless. Going to the hospital is absolutely out of the question.
If she finds out I'm lying, I'm as good as dead.
I let out a sigh, slumped into a chair, and muttered, "No one and I. Our marriage was just a business deal."
Years ago, when I hit rock bottom,
My mom needed 400,000 yuan for her surgery.
I was completely out of options. My only choice was to beg no one to save me. We only got married because she held serious leverage over me. My job was just to help her play nice in front of you and Dad. Now that the contract has expired, I can't keep holding no one back anymore. Trying to play tricks in front of my mother-in-law would only backfire. I'd be digging my own grave. Our only choice was to come completely clean. But as I confessed, I made sure to shoulder all the blame myself. To my surprise, my mother-in-law didn't seem focused on our fake marriage.
Instead, she frowned and demanded,
Wait. Am I really that old? You're not old at all.
"You're missing a word. Mom."
Mom, you're not old at all.
When we go out, everyone thinks you and Noan are sisters.
Tenuanku smiled, satisfied.
Then she continued, "So, a contract marriage. Well, I can just choose to believe you two were dating for the past 3 years. The Deb..."
I know Noan has a ton of flaws. She's clearly a total slob, yet she constantly whines about being a germaphobe. She has absolutely zero life skills. Other than her decent education and good looks, she really doesn't have much going for her. But are you saying you haven't developed any feelings for her at all? After 3 years. Even if you kept a dog by your side, you'd grow attached to it, wouldn't you?
Not that you're a dog, of course.
I mean Wanen. My mother-in-law's intense aura had cold sweat pouring down my forehead. Wiping away the sweat, I forced a laugh. Mom, you know where I come from. If no one didn't have leverage over me, a girl like her would never have even spoken to me in this lifetime.
Marriage is all about finding someone of matching social status. Even if I did fall for her, it wouldn't change anything.
Because she's already in love with someone else. Look at that little brat from the Du family. That pain in the gut. Does he tell him?
Isn't he just after the Shangzhang group shares Gaowan holds?
Only an idiot like Shaimon would actually believe her brother Sitong genuinely loves her. And you, getting a divorce without even giving me a heads up? What are we supposed to do now? Once that pain in the gut comes back, that foolish girl is going to fly straight into the fire like a moth. Is she really going to hand over Lawen's entire life's work to the Du family on a silver platter? I seriously regret not having a son with a pair of balls. Honestly, I didn't dare to reply to that. Nodding felt wrong. And shaking my head didn't feel right either.
But luckily, Chen No-Wan-Chu didn't make things too hard on me.
She pulled out 100,000 yuan from her bag and tossed it to me. A divorce is a divorce. I, Chen No-Wan-Chu, and not some old-fashioned, traditional uptight woman. For the past 3 years, you've called me Mom. Even if you're not my son-in-law anymore, you're still half a son to me. Wan was incredibly petty. If she left you with even 10,000 yuan in your pocket, then I, Chen Wanku, have lived my life in vain. Get this, and use it for now. Don't even think about leaving this city. If anything happens to Lao Wan and me in the future, we'll still need you to come and help us. If you dare to refuse,
I'll have my boys in the military take you out.
No, I won't refuse. Taking her money meant I was beholden to her, and this wasn't exactly a small amount either. But honestly, I really didn't dare to decline. It's not like I just learned how fierce my mother-in-law can be today. During dinner,
Chen Wanku solidly spoke up.
Nodding, I kept shoveling food into my mouth. The more Chen Dongku looked at me, her son-in-law, the more pleased she was. Handsome. A perfect match for one Noan, and highly talented too. Scraping her eyes, she smiled and asked me, "Do you want to come back to Changjiang Group?"
I can have Laowan make you the head of the planning department.
I let out a bitter laugh and shook my head. Mom, please stop joking around.
I go back to Changxiao.
We know will just think I'm desperately clinging to her. We're divorced now, so we should probably keep some distance. Besides, the regular employees at Changshan might not know about my relationship with Nuan.
but the executives have definitely seen me before. Plus, that person is about to come back. No matter what, I'm still no one's ex-husband. Seeing my ex-wife walking side by side with another man, it's bound to sting a little. So please, spare my miserable life, okay? Junwon-su's face fell, her disappointment obvious. She let out a soft sigh. Oh, you. All that pride of yours is only ever directed at us. You didn't show even a tiny bit of it to that little idiot, no one, and she still foolishly thinks that all your capabilities were taught by her. Since you're so stubborn about this, I won't make things hard for you. But just because you and no one are divorced doesn't mean you should rush into another marriage. If you meet a girl you actually like, just tell mom. If she doesn't budge, we'll just drown her in money. I won't be dating anytime soon. I need to take care of these headaches first. Then I'll buy a house in this city. Before I even think about dating again. Mom. You should probably head over to your mahjong game. This is already Aunt Zhao's fourth call.
Just as he spoke, Chen Wanku's phone rang.
Chen Ku picked up the call and snapped. Call.
Are you trying to rush me to my grave? I'm having a meal with my son-in-law. Why you all in such a rush? Just you wait. I'm going to take every penny you have today. A voice on the other end said, Is Yao Yi right next to you? Bring him along too. Let Big Sis show him some love. Haha. Xiao Yi is such a fantastic cook, you know. Chen Ku fired back. You shameless woman. Stop trying to seduce my son-in-law. There are plenty of other sleazy men out there for you. She turned to me. Shu Yi, your Aunt Zhao is asking if you want to come.
No, it's fine.
Aunt Zhao, I have some things to do this afternoon. I need to go buy groceries for no one. The moment those words left my mouth, I froze. It turned out, old habits really do die hard. The elegant lady on the phone grated her teeth and huffed.
Dan Wanku, get your butt over here and face your doom.
And just like that, my fierce ex-mother-in-law made her exit. I was driving a very low-key Audi A6. Stepping back onto the streets, I couldn't help but feel a pang of bitterness. But then I clenched my fists. A new life was about to begin. I went to buy some cigarettes, keeping my chin up. After grabbing a pack, I headed right to a rental agency to look for a place. In the end, I chose a rather pricey penthouse duplex. After all, a $4 million debt wasn't something I could pay off just by pinching pennies. If I wanted to clear that debt, just saving money wasn't going to cut it. Meanwhile, Santon was already on the verge of a total breakdown. Her house had been sold. My mother-in-law had casually told her
That she lost the house to Zhao Yi in a mahjong game.
and if she had any problem with it, she should go take it up with him. When it came to Aunt Zhao, who had forced Jiawan to call her big sister since childhood,
Sha Noan had always kept her distance.
this inappropriate elder would always pester her, asking how my stamina was in bed, which always left the innocent Xiaowan utterly speechless and flustered. When it came to those things, Xiaowan was as pure and innocent as a blank sheet of paper. Now, she sat on the edge of the bed, lost in thought. Did she really love Du Ziting? Or had she just used him as an emotional anchor? He had been abroad for years, and time had long since faded those feelings. Back when we first got married, she and Du Sing would talk over long-distance calls late into the night. But as time went on, those late-night chats shrank to just an hour. And eventually, they would be cut short the moment I called her over for dinner. I would also wake up early during those days of the month when she felt the worst, brewing her a bowl of fish head and tofu soup, or sometimes pork rib soup. I'd even prep a thermos of warm ginger and goji berry tea for her to take to work. Suddenly, Xiaoan felt completely lost. In her mind, Du Seng's face was becoming blurrier and blurrier, while my face became clearer and clearer. She couldn't stand this. She was the one I had dumped. She refused to let herself miss a man who had cast her aside. Suffocating and on the verge of tears, Xiaoan grabbed her keys and phone and rushed out of the house. Standing inside a bars, Xiaoan looked around at the unfamiliar surroundings. She had finally gathered the courage to step into a place she'd never been to before, the place she had always detested. But right now, she desperately needed an escape. And with every drink she took, the anger inside her only grew. Why am I so pathetic? How could I still be thinking about that guy, Su Yi? Sure, he's a decent cook. And he keeps the place spotless. And maybe he does the laundry a bit cleaner. And, okay, he's got a decent brain. And he's a little handsome. But what other good qualities does he even have? And the worst part is, that bastard actually had the nerve to demand a divorce. How dare he dump me when Wanwan, already half drunk, Sha Noan, didn't even notice. So she hadn't spared a single thought for that guy, Du Siting. It wasn't the alcohol that made her drunk, but her own lingering sorrows. Hey there, beautiful. Would you give me a chance to buy you a drink? She had already lost track of how many guys had tried to hit on her tonight. Yao Noan just wanted to drink in peace. Turning her head, she glanced at the man. He looked about 41, dressed in head-to-toe luxury brands. Yao Noan frowned and asked, I have a 6-figure annual salary, a watch worth over 1 million, and high-ranking government officials in my family. Do you really think I need you to buy me a drink?
The middle-aged man chuckled.
Turned and walked away. From her tone, he could feel that she wasn't actually asking him. Rather, she was making it clear that she already had everything she just mentioned.
Just as Yaoan was about to stand up and leave,
Another young guy came over to hit on her. Hey, show me some respect. My friends over there are all watching. Come on, let's go have a drink. It's so lonely, drinking all by yourself. Sis, your legs look amazing. We wouldn't mind if your little bro takes a feel, would you? Get lost. When no one snapped, splashing her drink right into the punk's face. The middle-aged man, who was about to leave in the distance, turned right back around and sat down nearby. He seemed to be waiting for an opportunity to play the hero and rescue the beauty. Having completely lost face, the young punk dropped his polite act. He grit his teeth and spat. Bitch! He raised his hand, ready to get violent. But his hand never got to fall. His wrist was suddenly grabbed in a vice grip. A fat guy appeared right beside him. Shenjin, you really want to get violent here? Are you asking to be carried out of here on a stretcher? There are some people you just don't touch. Over in the distance, Shenjing's friends noticed that something was off. They all stood up and started walking over. But the chubby guy didn't even spare them a glance. He grabbed Shenjing's arm, shoved him aside, and then turned to Yao Noan with a warm, gentle smile. Sister-in-law, what are you doing here all by yourself? Yao Noan, already completely drunk, stared blankly at the chubby guy in front of her. She tilted her head, asking curiously, Are you Ci's little brother? Sworn brothers. My last name is Sun. Just call me Fobao. My aunt and older sister co-own this bars with some partners. I'm always hanging out here. Sister-in-law, did you drive here? It's way too late for you to be out alone. It's not safe. If these bastards try to pull some dirty tricks on you, it'll be bad news. I just called Brother Yi. He should be arriving any minute now. Zhao Noan had no idea why she was suddenly panicking, stumbling and shaking. She desperately tried to make her way out of the bars. Why is it that the more I want to avoid him, the more our lives keep tangling together? But as Yalan tried to leave, Shenjing's crew was definitely not going to let that happen. They began yelling, demanding an explanation. After all, we've all been through it. It has basically become a tradition here at the Glory Group. As I stood there, waiting for the elevator, my mind was consumed by a lingering sense of dread. I couldn't help but wonder, was this karmic retribution for getting divorced? One moment, I'm signing the divorce papers, and the next, I'm getting completely wrecked by Chen Wanqiu. And then, out of nowhere, Yao Noan comes back into my life. This morning, I almost got run over by a car, and then my job interview went horribly. Finally, the elevator doors chimed open. Lost in my bizarre thoughts, I took a single step forward, only to slam right into something incredibly soft. Before I could even register what was happening, a heavy, painful punch slammed right into my stomach. Immediately after, a shrill, angry voice screeched in my ear. Are you blind? Did you seriously just grope me? Are you looking to die? Before she even finished her sentence, someone yanked my hair back with a vicious grip. First the punch, and now this? Absolutely furious, I snapped. I lunged forward and grabbed a handful of her hair in return. The woman let out a piercing shriek and slammed her sharp high heel right onto my foot. The next thing I knew, I was the one howling in pain. This time, I finally got a clear look at the person standing right in front of me. It was none other than the woman who almost ran me over just a moment ago. Tell me, which department are you from? I'm firing your ass right now! Get your hands off me! As she spoke, the woman gripped even harder. Since I've never claimed to be a gentleman, I didn't hold back either. Gritting my teeth, I spat back. I don't even work for your damn company. You almost ran me over downstairs. And here I was, wondering how the hell I'd find you. Sui leaned back, staring at the pile of documents in front of him. His mouth twitched slightly. Little Yang Jia pulled a can of Red Bull out of her pocket and set it on the table as well. Howding, she said. Mr. Liu told me to give all these documents to you. He also told me to grab you a coffee. But I'm broke, so I swiped a drink for you from the marketing department instead. Don't you dare tell Mr. Liu. Seeing the deadpan girl shaking her little fist at him in a threat, he tossed the Red Bull back to her. Thanks for your hard work, little Secretary Yan. Consider this your reward. Angjia snatched the Red Bull without a shred of hesitation. Only then did she register Sui's last words. The little secretary instantly flew into a rage.
Moving out her chest, she barked.
Who are you calling little? Where exactly am I small? Choking his chin, Shui looked Yanja up and down, pretending to be deep in thought. Still small. Sis, Shi is picking on me. Little Yanja flipped into victim mode in a split sec. The tears were already welling up in her eyes. Now Shu is totally panicking. He scrambled to his feet, utterly lost on whether to apologize or just stay quiet. Just then, Yanlan walked out of the office and gave her little sister a light smack on the head. She then turned to Sui with a smile. She is my younger sister.